morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum and Ripple's XRP. As always, we'll be looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the daily support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Sunday, September the 20th. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against US dollar, it's a bearish start to the morning. Going to see Bitcoin avoid a fall through the pivot at 11.068, support a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 11.215. Going to see a broad-based crypto rally, however, to support a Bitcoin break back through yesterday's high 11.185 and through to 11,200 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to be the cap on the upside. In the event of a breakout, could see Bitcoin test the second major resistance level sitting at 11.333 and resistance at 11,500 before any pullback. Fall through the pivot, bring the first major support level sitting at 10,950 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should avoid sub 10,700 levels. Second major support levels at 10,803 should limit any downside. Looking at the MACD, we had a bearish crossover late yesterday with a widening of the bearish histograms this morning, supportive of this early pullback. Looking at the EMAs, however, we're not seeing the 50 fall back towards the 100 or the 200 to suggest a bearish day ahead. So key through the morning, avoid the pivot level at 11.068, break out from yesterday's high 11.185 through to 11,200 levels to support another day in the green. Moving across to EOS against the US dollar, it's a bearish start to the morning. Going to see EOS move back through to 2.7 levels and then the pivot level at 2.7094 to support a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 2.7444. Support from the broader market is going to be needed for EOS to break out from that pivot at 2.7094. Barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level at 2.7444 and yesterday's high at 2.7510 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, could see EOS target the second major resistance level at 2.7860 before any pullback. Failure to move through that pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 2.6678 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, EOS should avoid sub 2.6s. Second major support level sitting at 2.6328 should limit any downside. Looking at the MACD, following yesterday's bearish crossover, seeing a widening of the bearish histogram this morning, supporting this early pullback. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 pull back a little bit from the 100 and the 200, suggestive of bearish day ahead. So key through the morning, a move back through to 2.7s and that pivot level at 2.7094 to bring that first major resistance level into play. In the event of a breakout, should see EOS begin to target 2.8s in the coming days. Moving across Ethereum against the US dollar, also bearish through the early part of the morning. Gonna need to see Ethereum avoid a fallback through the pivot, sitting at 383.62 to support a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 390.04. Broad-based crypto rally on the day is going to be needed for Ethereum to break out from yesterday's high at 388.43. Plenty of resistance at 390 in recent days. So barring an extended crypto rally, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, second major resistance level at 394.85 should pin Ethereum back from 400 levels. Fallback through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 378.81 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 370s. Second major support level sitting at 372.39 should limit any downside. Looking at the MACDs, we're seeing a marked narrowing of the bullish histograms and a possible bearish crossover here, supportive of this early pullback this morning. Looking at the EMAs, 50 looks to have topped out and could be beginning to narrow on the 100 and 200. Nothing conclusive as yet. So key through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot to then take a run at that first major resistance level. If we see a fallback through the pivot to sub 380s, could be a bearish day ahead. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, also in the red early on. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.2512 to then take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 0.2548. Barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 0.25485 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, second major resistance level sitting at 0.2585 should leave Ripple's XRP short of 0.26 levels. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 0.2475 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid the second major support level sitting at 0.2439. Looking at the MACDs, bearish crossover there with the widening of the bearish histograms, support of this early pullback, and we're seeing the 50 EMA pull back towards the 100 and the 200, suggestive of a bearish day ahead. So failure to break through that pivot level at 0.2512 will leave Ripple's XRP under pressure on the day.